Digitizing your family photos. Is it just me, or is this on someone else's to-do list? In my last video, we looked at preserving old photos in archival conditions for long-term preservation. Today, we're going to look at digitizing those old photos to safely preserve and share your precious family memories for generations. If you're watching this, you probably already know why this matters. Physical photos fade, they get damaged, or worse, they can be lost in disasters like floods or fires. But here's the good news. With the right approach and a good quality flatbed scanner, you can create a digital archive that will last for generations. Today, I'm going to walk you through the entire process, from preparing your photos to organizing your digital files in a way that makes sense not just for you, but for your children and grandchildren too. So, let's get started. Part 1. Preparation. Before we even turn on the scanner, let's talk about preparation. This step will make a massive difference in the overall outcome of your efforts. First, gently clean your photos and the glass surface of your scanner. I'll talk more about scanners in a moment. When it comes to your photos, you really want to use extreme care if you choose to clean them at all. Focus primarily on foreign particles like dust and hair. For these, you can use a squeeze ball air blower, cheap and easy to use, or you can use a can of compressed air. It's convenient, but please be careful and follow the instructions. The brand recommends keeping a distance of 2 to 4 centimeters, about 3 inches away from the object you're cleaning, and use short blasts. I do not recommend you use anything to remove dirt or blemishes from your old photos. If you accidentally damage them, there's no way to perfectly restore them. Remember, you can make many corrections with the digital images, erasing creases, smoothing blemishes, covering small imperfections, when you open it in photo editing software. For stubborn dust or smudges, I would recommend you take your photos to a local photo archiving company, one that specializes in digitizing media. Now, you'll have to determine whether it's worth the expense, but I've found there are some special circumstances that justify the cost for particularly important photos that are damaged, faded, or very dirty. When it comes to your scanner glass, it's important to make sure the scanner is as clean as possible. In most cases, a puff of air to remove dust and hair should be sufficient. But if you need a more thorough clean, you can use a clean lint-free cloth or a microfiber cloth and a little clean water as necessary. But never use harsh cleaning chemicals. And never spray any liquid on the glass directly. Always spray it on the cloth and then wipe it on the glass. I'll provide a link in the video with more detailed information about cleaning the scanner glass. Next, do yourself a big favor and sort your photos before you scan. Group them by person, event, or time period. Trust me, spending an hour organizing now will save you a lot of frustration later when you're naming files and organizing them into folders. This is where you build the framework for your entire archive. And here's a pro tip that many miss. Scan both the front and the back of every photo. Why? Because often there are notes, dates, or names written on the reverse side. That handwriting might be the only clue you have about when and where the photo was taken or who that mysterious relative is. And don't forget to scan other items, official documents like birth certificates, memorabilia, including yearbooks, scrapbooks, newspaper clippings, diplomas, degrees, diaries, and so on. Section 2, choosing your scanner and settings. Now let's talk about scanners. I know some of you might be tempted to just use your phone or that all-in-one printer with built-in scanner, but for this project, quality flatbed scanner is really the way to go. The difference in image quality and scanning flexibility is massive. When shopping for a scanner, look for 2 key specifications. The first, a Dmax rating of 3.6 or higher. This measures how well the scanner captures detail in dark areas. And second, the ability to scan in 16 bits per channel. This is sometimes called 48-bit color. This captures far more color information than standard 8-bit scanning, which is crucial for retaining archival quality images and facilitating restoration work later on. I purchased an Epson Perfection V600 photo scanner about 6 years ago, and it still produces high-quality outputs today. The great advantage of this scanner is its illuminated cover, which allows you to scan slides and negatives using these convenient frames. I tried to scan photos using my Brother all-in-one with a built-in scanner, but the results were disappointing. Honestly, you'd be better off scanning with your phone than using this built-in scanner, unfortunately. Now for the scanner settings, and this is where we go and search for the technical sweet spot. Resolution is critical. So here's what I recommend. For standard prints, your typical 4x6, 5x7, or 8x10 photos scan at 600 dpi. Some guides will say 300 dpi is acceptable, but 600 gives you much more flexibility for cropping, editing, and future enlargements without sacrificing quality. For small photos, like wallet-sized pictures or those tiny portraits from the 1940s, bump it up to 600, even 1200 dpi. The smaller the original, the higher the resolution you need to capture all the detail. If you have photos that need significant restoration, faded colors, tears, stains, scan at your scanner's maximum DPI. For small originals, that might be 2400 DPI or even higher. Slides and negatives should also be as high a resolution as possible. On my Epson, it goes up to 4000 DPI. Yes, the files will be enormous, but you can always create smaller versions later. But you can never add detail that wasn't captured in the original scan. For color mode, use color for all color and sepia-toned photos, and grayscale for black and white. And here's something important. Turn off all automatic enhancements in your scanner software. Don't use auto color correction, automatic dust removal, or auto sharpening. These features might seem helpful, but they can actually destroy subtle details and make restoration even more difficult. The best digital archive images are faithful reproductions of the original photo with all its blemishes and imperfections. If you want to use these enhancement features, you can make a second scan of the photo. But a far better solution, in my opinion, is to learn how to use photo editing software and fix these things manually. Section 3. File formats. Let's talk about file formats, because this decision affects whether your digital archive will still be accessible in 50 years or not. For your master archive images, the ones you're storing for the longer term, use uncompressed TIFF format. TIFF is the industry standard for archival images. It supports high bit depth, lossless compression, and embedded metadata. Yes, the files are large, sometimes 50 to 100 megabytes each, but that's the price of maximum preservation. And with the low cost of storage media today, there's really no reason to skimp on image quality. Think of TIFF files the same way you used to think about photo negatives. You never throw away the negatives. Second is JPEG. Use JPEG for derivative copies, the versions that you'll share on social media, email to relatives, or display in digital frames. Think of these like digital prints. But it's not recommended that you use JPEG as your only archive format. It uses lossy compression, meaning every time you edit and resave a JPEG, you lose a little bit more image quality. And thirdly, there's also PNG, which is also a lossless type of format like TIFF, but it's not ideal for photographs because it doesn't deal with subtle color gradations as effectively. It's better suited for graphics and simple images. For those interested in cutting-edge formats, JPEG 2000 is an emerging archival standard that supports lossless compression. Some institutional archives use it, but it's not widely supported by consumer software yet, so you're better off sticking with TIFF for now. Personally, I scan everything as a high-resolution TIFF file for the master archive, then create JPEG copies for everyday use and sharing. Section 4. File naming. Here's where organization really matters. A good file naming system makes your archive searchable and understandable even decades from now. If you look at the images on your camera or phone, you'll most likely see something like this, just a random string of files, something indicating that it's an image with a sequential number behind it. Now you can scroll through thumbnails, but the file names themselves are not helpful. It's true that AI and cloud photo services are getting better at facial recognition and grouping photos, but I still believe it's best to utilize a file naming convention for your family photo archive that makes it easier to find images. Now let's just go over some important rules for naming files. First, when naming your file name, do not use spaces. Instead, use underscores or dashes. Second, avoid special characters like hashtag, ampersand, forward or backslash, and so on. These characters may be okay on your computer, but they can cause problems as file names if they're on the internet or with certain operating systems. And just remember, you're naming a file. You're not trying to write an unbreakable password. Use letters, numbers, and underscores and dashes. Third, include key data points like dates, names, places, and events. Everyone thinks about filing and organization differently, so feel free to do what seems logical for your brain, but here's what I would recommend. Start with the date in the year, month, day format. If you put the year first, your computer will automatically sort files chronologically. If you don't know the exact date, you can just use the year or use circa if you're guessing, but put the number first, 1910 CA or 1910 circa. Next, add the surname, dash, first name, or initials. I usually write the surname in all caps because it helps to draw attention to the family name. Next, include a location or an event if it is known. And finally, a sequence number if you have multiple photos from the same occasion. So here's an example. 1910-07-15, Smith, Joseph, Berlin wedding, 01. Or for uncertain dates, 1935 CA, Jones, Allen, Lake Geneva, 01. This system works beautifully for genealogy because everything sorts by date, but you can still search by name or location. Beyond file names, you can also use metadata. I'm not going to go into detail here, but modern image software lets you embed information directly into the file using standards like IPTC or XMP. You can add names, places, dates, and stories right in these metadata fields. This information travels with the file and can be read by any photo management software. Think of metadata as the digital equivalent of writing on the back of the photo, except it will always be with the photo and it will never fade. Section 5, Folder Organization. Finally, let's build a folder structure that makes sense. There's already some sense of order through the naming convention, but if you throw more than, say, 50 photos into a single folder, you're going to have issues finding things. Start with a root folder. For example, you could call it Family Photo Archive, and then create subfolders by surname, decade, or event type, depending on what makes sense for your collection. It might look something like this. The beauty of a system like this is it's intuitive by nature. Someone browsing your archive 50 years from now can navigate it without instructions. Speaking of future navigation, here's a pro tip. In the main folder, Family Photo Archive, create a simple text file and call it README. You can put in whatever instructions and folder logic you've chosen to use, and future users will know where to begin. Section 6, Scanning. Finally, we get to the actual process of scanning your photos. Your scanner will come with its own software, so that software interface will look different from mine. But essentially, you place the image on the scanner, close the lid, and then open your scanning software on your computer. Epson software has many options: file type, image quality, color, black and white or grayscale, location where the file is saved, and so on. Epson software also lets you set a file name with the option of a sequential number at the end of that file name. And as you scan photos, it will automatically add to that sequence. What I love about Epson software is that it has a preview option. It's a quick scan to let you see if your image is set correctly. You can change the size and shape of the area scanned so that nothing is cut off and only the photo is scanned. Then when you're ready, hit the scan button. The higher the image resolution, the longer it will take to scan your photo. But once you get a good result, well, lather, rinse, repeat. So there you have it, a complete system for scanning and preserving your family photos with archival quality. Is this a time-consuming project? Absolutely. Is it worth it? You bet. It will be a permanent record of your family history that can be shared, preserved, and passed down through generations. Next time, we'll look at an alternative method, creating an archive using your phone camera. And we'll also discuss storage media and how to safely store your archive photos for the long term. Let me know what you found most helpful in the comments below, and I'd love to hear about the oldest photo in your family collection. And I'll see you next time.